Thank you guys so much for clicking on another video. And before we even get into the topic, we really want to appreciate all the new subscribers that have joined the Ultimate Fight Fans. We appreciate you. Joey KO appreciates you. Hammerhead Heck appreciates you. One Time Skills appreciates you. Ito.
Ito the beatbox. Ito the beatbox. That's our producer.
Our musical producer appreciates it, and everyone involved in this channel appreciates this amazing support. I had to give you guys credit because you're giving us so much love and you're giving us more motivation. So we want to be producing. We got green screens coming out. We got shirt giveaways coming out soon. So don't worry, there will be other ways to support us, and I hope that you do.
Yeah, so if you want a chance to win a free shirt, all you got to do is subscribe, like, and comment. And out of those people, we're going to check and see who wins. We're going to give away about 12 shirts. So you guys have a good chance of winning some free merch. Right into it. We're talking about that third fight between Deontay Wilder and your guy, Tyson Fury. Now, I do respect the fighting skills of Fury, but I don't like him as a person.
I just want you to know I hate you.
And there's really nothing much other than his antics towards the fight with Anthony Joshua and the way he talks, like he's so confident. He doesn't want no smoke with Anthony Joshua.
Obviously, I gotta step in there and say that's another topic for another video. That's some bullshit. Tyson Fury's pushing for the fight, and when he's away from this contract, he will obviously need to beat Wilder. And if Anthony Joshua fights Usyk and beats Usyk, then the fight will happen. I guarantee you.
We gotta be honest that he's a fucking bitch for lying about that fight, lying to the fans when he knew damn well he wasn't getting around that arbitration. He knew the shit all along.
Well,
that's why Anthony Joshua.
Tyson Fury believes in the art of manifestation, so he was manifesting that to be true. Obviously, he convinced the world. No, but you called that. I give you credit for that. I remember I was following the Tyson Fury train, and I thought he was away from that arbitration. I thought the arbitration was gonna amount to nothing. So obviously Wilder, and that's actually something that I want to really give credit to Wilder, because I think the narrative, rightfully so, has been that Wilder has found every excuse in the book, in the sink, in the kitchen, in the attic, wherever you could find excuses, he knows how to find them. Pretty sure he got more coming up. But I do want to give you an example. His actions and his consistent use of excuses are oxymoronic. They are not matching. He's trying new things. He has a new coach. I don't like how he treated Breland, but he has a new coach. His sparring and his bag work, he's trying new techniques. Like he's looking like he's trying to turn the corner, use his lead jab hand as a more dominant force, as opposed to just using his straight right hand. So I do appreciate those little adjustments that I'm thinking he's trying to make. I believe Wilder has to be given credit for fighting in court to fight somebody. That's how much you want to fight somebody. You got to do what Wilder just did.
I like his Michael Myers approach at the press conference too. It added more to the press conference that he stood quiet the whole thing, and he was just listening to Dr. Dre beats, whatever was bumping.
Tyson Fury's Freddy Krueger, a conniving son of a something. You know what I'm saying? And this guy was literally quiet.
You're slow. You're stupid. And you're all washed up.
I think that him being quiet added more to the press conference, and you saw Fury talking, and then when they faced off,
I like that.
A long silence. They was face to face, looking at each other. He took off his glasses. He stared into his eyes, and they kind of like just stood there. And
no, but I think you just cracked something. I think you just cracked something, and it connects to what I was talking about. He was extremely quiet in the press conference, and I think what that says to me anyway is that he's done with excuses. He don't got no more excuses. So what I said earlier, he probably don't got no more. And if he does have, he's not gonna come out and use them, because I guarantee you, when you talking, you might say things. Look, I talk my ass off. Trust me, I'll put my foot in my own mouth. I put both my foots in my mouth at the same time.
Put a lot of things in your mouth.
Brass.
But it's just fucking hilarious because, you know, when it was face to face, it's like they had a stare down competition between kids, right? They wouldn't look away, and Fury was just staring at him, saying, "You know what's coming, you know what's coming," and Wilder was just looking at him like reading his thoughts almost, like he ain't got nothing to say.
I gotta give shout out to Boxing Wave. My man produces great content. I was just watching this whole video earlier covering essentially Wilder's hypocrisy, because I believe what Boxing Wave was trying to come across with, or what his point was, is that Wilder was a very pro-black fighter in the rematch, especially because they had like a friendly mutual respect in the first fight. And then the second fight comes around and it gets a little bit more nasty. That's where the Wilder meme, all day comes out. He attacked Radio Raheem, and that's what Boxing Wave was pretty much covering. And he believed that it was complete hypocrisy to say that Tyson Fury is an example of white privilege when the privilege was actually given by Wilder. This is a situation where Wilder has equal control. He's a relative superstar in heavyweight boxing. He's definitely a superstar, and he can make these types of moves. You know what I'm saying? So I do believe the culpability is on. Damn, what was I saying?
You just had a Mad Sarah moment right now.
Yeah. What was I saying though?
Number two.
What was you saying?
I forgot.
I was really getting to a point with that.
Blah, 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 blah.
The fact that Wilder stood very quiet is showing us that he's done with the excuses.
He's focused.
He's very focused. And I believe that's going to be crucial. Focus is what he needs, because precision with that right hand is what half a second it takes him to land that shot. So the margin of error is very low.
He can still knock, in my opinion, Deontay Wilder can knock out any man who's breathing air living today.
I can't breathe.
There's not a man in the world, I don't care if you're 500 pounds or 150 pounds, you're gonna get knocked out by that man.
One thing I want to say, the arbitration, the pandemic, the delays, whatever, even the negotiation between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua are all beneficial to Deontay Wilder. It gave Deontay Wilder more time to make adjustments, because that's all he truly needs more time. He needs more time to focus on other things. He already has a wonderful right hand. So if he could just add a beautiful jab, and it's not like he has a horrible jab. I think his biggest weakness lies in his feet work. And I think that's where Tyson Fury is an optimal fighter. See, this is where he won't make adjustments. It won't be feet work that's going to be the difference. So I believe the difference will be in his lead hand. He's going to need to show that he could hit Tyson Fury with the lead punch, because a right hand, just generally speaking, is a further away punch. It's a punch that's from a further distance. So it's a riskier shot to throw as a lead shot. And he needs to be able to prove to Tyson Fury, not me or to you or to the world, to Tyson Fury, that he cannot come forward, because Tyson Fury will make adjustments. How you know this fight coming up, Wilder's so pent up with aggression, he's coming after Tyson Fury, so Tyson Fury fights like he did the first time, on his back foot. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe he meets Wilder in the middle. There's so many variables, and the fight is very interesting. So please, one last message I really want to say is, let's all be excited for this fight, because remember that this is the first heavyweight trilogy in, I believe, decades. When's the last time we saw two heavyweight?
It might be Evander and Bo.
And those are incredible heavyweights. Those are not regular heavyweights. Those are legendary.
Yeah, there hasn't been a trilogy since then. Yeah, I don't think. Wow, that might be the last trilogy. I could be wrong. You might want to research that.
But the whole point, we're talking heavyweight.
Heavyweight division. Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield was the last trilogy that I could remember.
Boom, here it is.
Deontay Wilder is gonna get his ass kicked again, but we cannot count him out, because he still has the ability to knock anybody the fuck out. So in actuality, I'm almost 50-50, but I am expecting Deontay Wilder to take another beat down, and he's gonna have to go through the fire to land that right hand or hurt him with the left hook. I feel like he has more tools.
You said it's gonna be another domination. I'm in that same type of mentality. You know how much I love Tyson Fury. I believe he will dominate. How differently will the new trainer react to the beatdown compared to Breland? Because you saw Breland was protecting his life. Will this new trainer be scared to do that because he knows he's fired? Well, he's fired on the spot if he does that.
You're fired.
For watching him train with other fighters, he's definitely a dude that has more experience as a trainer than Breland. Breland has trained other guys, but this was his biggest fighter. This is the biggest fighter that he's trained since being a fighter himself. But Breland was a bigger name as a fighter. He's more of a boxer. He's more remembered for his boxing career than this new trainer is. This new trainer is solely a trainer that we know.
So I love that you mentioned that because you're giving me that context. I didn't know that. I didn't understand that to be the case.
Yeah, Mike Breland, just so you know, is considered the greatest amateur boxer that ever lived. He won Olympic gold medals. He went to the Olympics with Taylor.
But he's obviously, I love that you say that. He obviously didn't teach. Well, I know he had a beautiful right hand because you've always spoke to me about that. You did speak to me about Breland's right hand and how he could teach. He taught Wilder how to really utilize that. And the best coaches could do that. Steve Kerr's a great three-point shooter.
Was an incredible fighter.
Look what he did with Steph Curry. So other sports, there's always, you could teach. Some people are so great, they can teach others to be just as great. And sometimes you're so great, you can't really teach that. So maybe with the Wilder situation, Wilder wasn't the type of fighter that can really exemplify Breland as a coach, because I don't really think you saw huge adjustments between. Wait, hold up. This last point, so you can say this. You didn't see huge adjustments between Wilder Fury 1 and Wilder Fury 2 from the Wilder side. You saw the adjustments from the Fury side.
I'm gonna add context to that. What's very important about this is that I feel like Breland is the perfect trainer for Deontay Wilder stylistically. They're both very similar. Long arms. The stuff that Breland did that worked for him will work for Wilder.
You've been saying that for a long time.
The problem is this. Wilder is not easy to coach. He doesn't listen. And Mike Breland in an interview after leaving after they separated, Breland and Wilder, he did an interview. And Breland did say that it was hard to coach Wilder. Wilder did not want to work on certain things, and he would get upset if Breland brought up certain things.
And you see how some of that you could see as rumor. The type of amount of hours we put into watching, the amount of hours you put in actually fighting yourself, you understand. Just by the eyes that Wilder is not doing certain things. You know he's not doing certain things. You're seeing Manny Pacquiao at 42 years old utilize his right hand. He's, after all these years, now he's fine. Well, let's see if he can continue that against Spence. But he's looking like he's improving with the right hand. So we know even the greatest fighters, legendary fighters, it takes them decades to improve in a specific area with a specific punch. So I get it. But Wilder looks like he's doing adjustments just by the training. Let me just be honest, just by the training, because I said back then, his knockouts against Brazil, his knockout against Luis Ortiz hurt him. They didn't help him because he knocked him out almost. It was a carbon copy of the Luis Ortiz fight. The rematch, he was losing the first fight and then knocked him out with a right hand. And the second fight, pinpoint exactly the same against Brazil. Wasted time. That's not even experience, bro. That's talent.
His talent is that punching power. So it's kind of, and it happens to fighters throughout history. The hardest punches usually don't develop the same skill set as the guys that don't have to rely on the punching power. But you have fighters who have been able to do both. I think with Deontay Wilder,
Mike Tyson was pretty skillful with power.
Yeah, but with Deontay Wilder, I feel like he does have the range and ability to be a good boxer from the outside, but he throws caution to the wind because once shit gets tough, he's gonna go back to resort to the right hand, and if he lands that right hand, it's fucking over. He's gonna knock you the fuck out. He has an incredible right hand.
Yeah,
so
but
it's
see,
hard to change that.
he's considered one-dimensional though. And you know who? And MMA, I know I can always bring him up. Conor McGregor's considered one-dimensional because they're known to have one extremely efficient punch. This fight, I truly believe, is going to be sensational. I don't believe these two guys could produce a boring fight, and I don't believe Wilder.
Yeah, and it has all the makings for another legendary night. We didn't forget the first fight. We couldn't forget the second fight. And I think it's going to be the same thing. You have two stories going and clashing. There's all types of drama this time around because they already did it twice. And it's personal now. I mean, he had to go to court to actually get the fight done because he took too long. Arbitration happened, which arbitration is just basically a quick review. You don't even have to go to court because it was a contract. So you have arbitration to settle it. So all he did was go to the date and they say, yeah, this guy deserves his right because it was a rematch clause into that fight.
And supposedly he turned down $15 million. But I think most people are looking at this. A lot of people are looking at this as a downer, right? And it can be considered that because we want an undisputed heavyweight champion.
Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. That's what we want. But you can't be too disappointed with this fight because
that's what I'm saying.
You have
the
unpredictability of what can happen. The results could be derailed. You cannot count out Wilder. The better fighter is Fury, but you can never count out.
And there's just a very weird, sorry to cut you off, there's a very weird dynamic. It's a wonderful dynamic. It's a dynamic you really don't see. You got the more agile, chubbier, lankier fighter in Tyson Fury, and you got a more lean, I would say even very skinny heavyweight that possesses power that will resemble a much heavier man. So you have weird dynamics in that. You have a very skillful boxer that doesn't look the way you would think he fights. He looks like Ben Rothwell. I always say that, but he fights like a Floyd Mayweather, or let's say a very optimal defensive fighter. So it's a very weird fight in that regard. And I believe that's why Tyson Fury is interesting. You put him, Wilder. If you can really sub either guy against Anthony Joshua, the fight will be amazing. It don't matter. Anthony Joshua hasn't fought neither of those guys. If he fights one of those guys, it would be incredible. See, but what if we get into this weird scenario where Wilder wins and then he doesn't want to give Tyson Fury a rematch so that he fights Anthony Joshua?
You know, the ones at the top that I haven't fought, haven't got my hands on. That's what I want. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I know that's kind of lame a little bit to not name a name, but anyone that ain't faced that's at the top, I'm talking about you.
None of those guys want it with Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua, they know he's the real deal.
Tyson Fury wants it with Anthony Joshua. He was a bozo for what he did with the arbitration and making the scene in the media.
And that's what I wanted to hear you say. Is that
he's a bozo for that.
He's
a bozo for that. I agree with that. And remember, I could say when people are bozo, Conor was acting like a straight bozo. And that, look, you saw what happened with him.
I'm still excited for this fight, though. I think that this is going to be a very good fight.
The way I see it, Tyson Fury is just going to continue what he's done. I believe he won the first fight. I believe he showed you what he could really do. Because remember that a lot of people picked Wilder because Tyson Fury kind of rushed back from losing all that weight and then fighting those two bum skis, considered respectfully, and then fighting Wilder so quickly after being retired for so long. So remember that the rematch showed you what experience does. More hours in the gym, you remember. It's just like when you work at your job. If you haven't done that, I've been on unemployment for 14 months. I'm off unemployment, I'm working, and now I'm remembering things that I forgot. But I'm remembering it because I got hours in, not because I didn't have hours in. So once you put the hours in, you remember things and remember, these are legendary guys, so they remember at rapid paces. They don't progress at a pace like a normal person. Like Floyd Mayweather could go off for a whole year and come back and not lose
Beat
a
the
step.
shit out of Logan Paul. I get it.
Yeah. And it's sensational what some guys could do, and these guys are at that level. And Wilder deserves our respect, and he's been more quiet. So let's not even talk about those excuses as in the past. And I believe he's gonna produce a great fight.
Yeah, those excuses ain't gonna mean shit if he knocks fucking Fury out. So
yeah, nobody's gonna remember those excuses. I lie. People are gonna remember that he was a clown for that. But he could turn himself to Bozo the Clown, which is the biggest clown of all time.
please like, comment, subscribe, and share our video for a chance to win a free shirt. And it looks like this. Pretty awesome. I like that shirt. You deserve that shirt.